All right, here we go. Chapter 10 Blinker continued. In another part of Amberville, the full moon was high, the night air soft, the fragrances of spring rich and varied. Blinker's pink nose, framed by his fine, fair whiskers, trembled, and his pink eyes kept blinking as he tried to take in a world so very much bigger than the room he knew. Oh my, he prattled in a daze of happy wonderment. So many sounds, so many smells, so much to see. Like an unsure compass needle, he turned round and round on shaky legs until he grew dizzy. Stopping and starting, he made his way across the lawn in front of the house. The grass tickled his feet so he had to pause more than once because of uncontrollable giggling. Here and there he plunged his nose into the ground and inhaled the sweet and musky smell, only to get a snoot full of dirt and dust, which caused him to sneeze repeatedly. It's all so achoo! It's amazing, he wheezed. So achoo! Full. In a moment of abandon, he rolled over in the grass and kicked his pink feet into the air, which gave him the sensation that he was walking on the moon. Another kick righted him, and he began to run about wildly. When he reached the sidewalk in front of the house, he put a paw on the concrete. Goodness, this is hard, he murmured, almost as if he were learning a new language. Yet very cool, delightfully so. It really is. He continued along the sidewalk, poking his nose this way and that. Every few inches he reared up on his hind legs and gazed about. Oh, he cried in rapture, my shadow by moonlight, how velvety, how mysterious. When Blinker reached the curb, he gazed down into the gutter where puddles had gathered. Why, I believe that's water! But not in a bottle or glass. It must be free. It's just free! He studied the water so intently he leaned over too far and tumbled head over heels, landing with a great splat in the middle of a puddle. Thoroughly soaked, Blinker sat up, grimaced, looked around, then began to laugh uncontrollably. Ridiculous! I am so helpless, like an infant. That's what I am, a perfect baby. I might as well be blind and naked. It's all so silly. Oh, but wonder. He could not finish his sentence. He was laughing too hard. Dripping wet, he eased himself out of the water and began to move across the road. Unexpectedly, there was an explosion of light so bright he was blinded. Then Blinker heard a roar louder than anything he had ever heard before in his life. Unable to see, to move, much less think, he went numb with terror. The next moment, the machine that made the roar hurtled over him, missing him with just inches to spare, creating a wind that left him frightened and coughing. What was that? Blinker asked himself as he looked into the direction the thing had gone. All he saw were receding red lights. A car, he said to himself in a shaky voice. I forgot about cars. He pressed both front paws over his wildly beating heart. I could get killed. In haste, Blinker retreated to the gutter and attempted to climb the curb, which proved too high and smooth to manage. Given no choice, Blinker scampered the length of the gutter. When he reached the end of the block, he halted. He knew he wanted to go home. An inner voice scolded him for being weak while urging him to be bold, to continue on, to explore the world. In the end, Blinker compromised between urges. He would go on and see as much as he could by night, but as soon as the daylight came, he would return to the house in the safety of his room. Having calmed himself with his self-imposed limit, Blinker ventured upon the street again. This time, he carefully checked both ways for any sign of danger before proceeding. Only when he was certain that there was none did he dart across the street and into a park. He took time to feel the rough bark of the massive trees. When he came upon a flower, a lily of the valley, he almost swooned with delight at its strong fragrance and delicate white bells. Blinker went on, drawn by one astonishing discovery after another. First, it was a damp, wiggling worm, then a pine cone. A shiny pebble seemed to have captured the light of the moon on its smooth surface. There were signs of humans, too. Ash cans, piles of newspaper, benches. It was as if each thing he came upon was the rarest of marvels and the first to find it. Truly remarkable, he kept whispering. Truly, truly, truly. Only after he had gone on for a long time did Blinker happen to look up. The darkness was fading. In its place was soft gray light. Wondering, he stared at it. Goodness, he said, even the sky changes. Then he remembered his promise to himself. It was time to return home. Regretfully, but with some relief, Blinker turned about, only to realize he had neglected to keep track of his route. He had no idea where he was, much less how to get back home. Eyes squinting, tail twitching, he looked around. What had seemed very beautiful moments before had become a bewildering maze. He darted off in one direction, certain he had come from that way. The next moment, he felt sure he was not coming from that way, but from this way. Trembling with fear, he came to a stop. He was lost. Get a grip on yourself, Blinker, he murmured, and made himself look around in the growing morning light. He was on a sidewalk. The buildings, at least compared with houses in his own neighborhood, were not as brightly painted. Some windows were broken. Doors were lopsided. Many more cars went by than in the night, terrifying in their size, noise, and smell. As Blinker pondered his difficulty, he heard a strange sound. He had not the least idea what this long, high-pitched, drawn-out whistle might be. Still, it was something. I must get back home, he told himself, and crept along, halting every few feet to rise up on his hind legs and look and sniff, hoping that every corner he turned would reveal something familiar. None did, and in his confusion, the whistle drew him like a beacon of light.